Welcome to Virtual Sewing Room in Conversation with, and today we're joined by
Sam. My name's Sam Whitaker, and I'm also known as So Let's Sparkle with Sam on YouTube and Instagram.
Amazing. And Sam, I actually looked up when you first joined. I went back into Eventbrite and had a look, and it was December 2023. And I was like, how is it that long ago? Like it feels, I mean, you
Yeah,
feel part of the community, but can you remember the first session you joined?
I don't think I can. I don't believe it's a year. Mind you, it's just everything's gone so fast, hasn't it?
Mm.
The last couple of years, I think for me. But no, I don't think I do remember. But I don't ever remember kind of not coming. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of it feels like it's just part of my life now, which is quite nice.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I remember, I think your first session because I was fascinated because of your background with space camp and everything. I was just like, this woman is amazing. Like, it's so cool. I want to go to space camp. So, I mean, I still have that in me, but I just remember just asking you questions because you just, slyly mentioned it. I was like, oh, because of my job. And I'm like, what's your job? So I think I remember that almost fangirling a little bit like, who is this woman? Uh, yeah, that I think that's my vague first memory, but yeah.
Yeah, I got very used to being called Space Camp Sam, and now I'm Sparkly Sam. So obviously, space and sparkles go together. So I'm just Spacey Sparkly Sam.
It's amazing the kind of nicknames we yeah. So whilst we're chatting, we might be working on some stuff. So I'm doing more embroidery on a hoodie that is ongoing forever during all of these chats. What are you working on, Sam?
I'm doing something a little bit boring, but very necessary. So I've got my very old wool winter coat, big thick coat, and it's got these gorgeous, like odd buttons on.
I spotted it on the cuff and was going to ask you to show me.
Yeah, and it's got lots and
Amazing.
lots of, and I've been carrying around two buttons that have fallen off in the pocket for probably since last winter. And I just need to sew them on, so I'm just literally gonna sew on these two buttons.
Oh,
And I've had to find some little odd buttons from my button box because I've completely lost, so I've just found this little one.
oh, that would go lovely with.
Yeah, that's the great thing about having a coat with odd buttons on, that if you lose one, in the button box.
I had this. So during our sessions, during our normal virtual sewing room sessions, what do you normally work on? Because we have an array of crafts.
Yeah, I'm normally sewing. Um, I tend to I tend to do a lot of cutting. I'll do cutting in batches so that I've got, and I do a lot of kind of virtual sewing and obviously sewing as part of my job, and I do sewing with other people and I teach other people to sew. So if I've all of my projects for the week, I do try and kind of batch them and get everything prepped because I really value that time that I get for the virtual sewing and for social sewing. So I like to have something that's ready to just go and I can just sit and sew. Not that I don't enjoy the prep, because I do. I like all of the aspects of sewing. I actually quite like cutting out, but I don't find that when you're cutting out, particularly with a rotary cutter, which is my preference, is very sociable, because if I'm looking at people in the eye, I might chop my fingers off.
I've done the risk assessment. Yeah. Yeah, I
So
think it must be a rarity. I don't mind the cutting out process now. Like in the last 2 or 3 years, suddenly I've realized because I've suddenly liked to batch because then I've
mm,
always got something that I can just grab and make rather than have to be like, oh, I really want to just get on with the sewing part because that's
mm,
it. And so if I batch, then if I'm in the mood for batching, get it done, then
yeah.
sewing just more accessible.
And you've made the decision, because I find that it's actually making the decision of what to make sometimes is, I'll kind of go in and out and I'll change my mind. And where I've cut the fabric, I've cut the good stuff, I'm making it now. So I've made that decision. So yeah, I quite like having that all done and prepped.
No, a few months ago, I think during a session, we were talking about whips, work in
Oh.
progress, and that you had a short list of stuff that waiting to be made. what's the longest something has sat in the whip pile? Do you know?
Well, I've I've been sewing for about 4.5, 5 years. Not really been sewing that long. Um, and I've probably got something that's sat there for about 4 years. Um, the thing is that I have quite a crazy brain, and my brain works really well when I've got lots and lots of different things on. So I think just part of it makes me feel calm. Even that whip, that it doesn't bother me that it's been there for 4 years, and it doesn't bother me that I've got, X number. I couldn't tell you how many, but there's quite a few. It doesn't bother me that they're there. I know that they're there, and I know that perhaps one day they'll all get made up, but it doesn't, yeah, I don't know. It's just it's part for me, it's part of the process. Part of my sewing process is starting something and just leaving it in the naughty corner for a bit until I feel in the right kind of mind space to come back to it and do it again. Most times I do. I've just recently, because I use the project bit on StashHub, the project planning bit. And for the first time ever, I did actually press the abandon project button, and I did just decide that it was to do with space, and I got something out, and I was like, no, actually, Sam, you're not going to finish this. And so I did make the decision to abandon the project. And actually, that was quite nice. It's quite a nice decision to make,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah, I
And
think
now it's
just
not,
being honest with
yeah,
yourself, like actually, nope.
nope.
And I think during sessions we talk a lot about subscription boxes and the fabrics that come along. And I've had one fabric where I was just like sat on it for 4 months, and I was just like, I'm just not like there is no inspiration, nothing that I can pair it with, nothing. So I was like, nope, I'm gifting it to a friend. Like just and I just felt
Yeah,
so good about that. Just like, yep, it's hers, it's her colorway. And boom, she'd made something within days. So I
yeah,
was quite chuffed that I just, yeah, it was a gift. So it's fine.
yeah, absolutely. Because I think that's it, isn't it? I mean, I know when I have fabrics come in, there's definitely the ones that come in and are made up like within set. They're literally in the washing machine before you've opened the parcel. They're kind of like you're
Yeah.
already in my head. I've already cut it out and kind of made it. And then there's others that I do think sometimes you do need them to sit there for a while. And
Mm.
then there's others where you just, yeah, I totally agree. It's like, actually, this doesn't work for me. I think we get ourselves worried though, don't we, about, you've spent money on it, you've kind of you've purchased it, you've made that decision, so therefore you should, it's a little bit like what your parents used to say to you, you've made your bed, you have to lie on it. And actually you don't, because you can just do something else, or you can, get someone else to make your bed.
Or don't make the bed at all. Just leave.
Yeah, or just lie on it unmade.
Yeah, yeah, that's fine. So during the sessions, we do have the disclaimer of being influenced and with purchases.
Yes.
I have two that I can blame on you.
Oh, yeah.
I say blame.
I
They're
have I
lovely.
have quite a few that I could blame on quite a few people in
Well, we'll
there.
come to that in a second. So I have this would be no surprise, the
Oh,
fringe dress,
lovely.
which you have how many of?
I think I have seven, 6 or 7. I think I have 7, 6 or 7. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've done my mock-up just of the bodice and yeah.
Yeah, it's
Um,
beautiful. It's a really, really beautiful dress. And it's one of those ones that choose a slightly different fabric and you've got a completely different dress. Like, it falls very different. I've made it in cotton poplin and it
mm,
looks beautiful. I've made it in viscose and it looks beautiful. I've made it in a linen and it looks really nice.
yes, I've got a
So
bit of
it's
linen
different
actually.
fabrics.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, yeah, I think I've got a fabric for it now. That might, I mean, on the list. And the other one was from your vlog. You did a challenge with Mandy, and I'm fairly sure you had this fabric.
Yes.
And I was like, where did she get it from? Because it's just all speckly, kind of got galaxy feels in my mind. And you made was it Sirocco?
Yes, I made the jumpsuit, the same jumpsuit that Mandy, yeah. The collaboration that I did with Mandy. Yeah, I wear that all of the time. And I actually, because I found that with the Sirocco, it fits beautifully, but it's for me, it was a little bit kind of low, and I wanted to wear it more often and know. And again, because I teach, I'm quite often bending over people, you know what it's like. You kind of, so I need that kind of coverage just to feel safe and secure. So I made like a vest top that goes underneath. And recently I found a little bit of scrap and I've made myself another vest top. So I've got two that I can wear underneath, and I now wear it kind of more often because you know what it's like if you wear something close to your skin, that's the thing that needs to be washed all of the time.
Yeah.
But I didn't want it. I don't know about you, but with some me maids, I'll stop myself from wearing them because I don't want to ruin them.
Mm,
I want them to kind of have that longevity. And I just thought, well, this is silly. Clothes are meant to be washed.
yeah.
But yeah.
So which purchases spring to mind that you've been influenced from attending sessions?
Definitely lots of spacey fabric. I get so much spacey fabric sent to my inbox from virtual sewing room members. Saw this, thought of you, saw this, thought of you. And on occasion, it'll be the same fabric from like 6 different people. So I've obviously got a type. But yeah, I did buy some really lovely jersey from Debbie Shaw Fabrics. And to be honest, I hadn't even realised that Debbie Shaw Fabrics sold anything other than quilting cottons. But it was a lovely jersey with like planets with eyeglasses on, and it was just cute. And so yeah, that one went. I think that probably went in my basket the quickest.
That was a
But
recent one, wasn't it?
yeah, I'm just thinking probably further back than that. I'm just trying to think.
Any
I
patterns?
Oh yes, and I'm going to blame Eleanor again for this one. So Sinclair Patterns. To be honest, I'd never really heard of them. It wasn't something that was on my radar. And I've got a few of those now, and I've made a couple, and yeah, they're definitely really lovely. Particularly, they tend to be more kind of knit patterns, I find, than woven. I don't know. I've not obviously looked at the whole catalogue, but more of them are knit ones. But you get something a bit different, which is quite nice.
Mm,
So yeah.
I think I certainly hadn't heard of Sinclair Patterns before, and yeah, they had a sale over Christmas, and I now own two. Um, yeah, but I made sure it was something that was a gap in my kind of pattern wardrobe, as it were. Um, so a sports bra and then a kind of t-shirt. I can't remember what it's called, Hudson maybe. And that was quite nice. It has a
Nice.
backet thing. Yeah. Okay. Not too many purchases then.
No, not that I can think. I mean, if I have been influenced, then I've been quite happy about it.
Oh, I'm happy with mine.
But yeah.
So you've only been in the sewing world a few years, but are there any bits of advice or top tips that you've been told that have really stuck with you? Or
Um,
one that you definitely pass on to your students?
yeah, I think and I know this kind of sounds a bit cliche, but the just go for it is just really important, because I think anything that you do in life, anything at all, you make mistakes. It's absolutely human. When if you think about it, we wouldn't learn to do anything at all from a child to an adult if we didn't fall over, spill something, get it down our tops. All of those things. That's all perfectly normal parts of learning to these new skills. And sewing is no different. It's absolutely no different. And it doesn't matter how old you are when you start, you should just go for it. You should fall over, you should spill it down your top, you should do those things, because if you don't, you'll never kind of learn from those mistakes. And I do think, I mean, yeah, it's great to go to a class, get some lessons, watch YouTubes, but also just practice, just do that kind of, practice on your own, or, just cut the good stuff, make mistakes. I think that would be my biggest kind of tip. Because I found that, because I do teach classes, I find a lot of people come in and actually they don't really need me to teach them to sew, which obviously I do, but what they need from me is to give them the confidence to learn to sew. And I think that that's the main thing, is actually, I think you just need to realize that anyone can sew. It's, you can definitely do it. It's just about getting on with it, cutting the good stuff, putting it under the machine, making mistakes. Obviously, being mindful and be careful. Don't go putting fingers in overlockers and things like that.
No, the general safety basics.
Yeah. But other than that, there shouldn't be anything really that stops you from sewing.
Yeah, I know people get quite scared about overlockers when they purchase them or are gifted them, and it's like, no, just get it out the box. People have them sat on their shelves for so long. Actually, I got mine straight out and was so excited to use it, and it's just it's a game changer. And I hate that if there's a machine like that just sat, it's like, no, get it out, just play, practice, enjoy it, because
yeah, I have a lady that came to my beginners to sewing class, and we were chatting about, and I just said, oh, does anyone own an overlocker? Because a lot for the beginner sewers obviously don't. There was one lady, she said, yes, it's in the box. I said, oh, how long have you had it for? She said, 3 years.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I think it needs to come out of the box.
It is time.
It is time to open the box.
You need like a Masked Singer moment of open the box.
Yeah.
just that bit of encouragement.
But,
actually, going back to your thing about just getting on with it and doing it, it's definitely something I've as one matures, definitely embraces that kind of thing. Like, I've started seeing a PT more recently, and half of what I'm paying to see her is confidence, because gyms are a space that are alien to me. Just like, I feel like everyone's looking at me, I don't know what I'm doing, and it's a lot simpler than I think it, but she's just teaching me the right things. It is just do it, and that's just me a lot of
and I think that's what's great about the virtual sewing room, because it gives you that, what's the word, permission, if you like, to do something crazy. Because what a better way, when there's a group of people that are all in your room, as it were, in the little squares, that you can actually say, oh guys, I really want to try this. And I don't know about you, but if I've ever said that to anyone, no one's ever said to me, no one in virtual sewing room has ever said, well, actually, Sam, I don't think you should do that.
yeah, the advice, like I think it was Mandy was quilting something, and she's like, oh, should I quilt it in black or purple? And then someone said metallic gold, and it was just the right answer for, I'm going to say a bag, but for the fabric she had, it was just like, yes, that, like, she wouldn't. Yeah, but everyone's very encouraging, and yeah, it's a nice open space for questions and advice and all of that stuff. So, and it's always nice when you're there, because it's almost the professional hat. Like, I know if you're there and someone asks a question, I'm like, I don't need to answer this, because I'll just say budget, but Sam's there and we'll have a slightly more sensible answer than just wing it, be fine.
Oh, that's nice. No, it's a nice feeling that, because I remember what it was like when I first started, and I didn't know anything, and I only learned from other people telling me and explaining things. And I do think that, obviously, because I have an education background and a teacher background, the way that I pass information on, I think people find that quite helpful. It's why I like doing my beginner tutorials on YouTube, because, again, I remember how I learned, and I'm glad that I get to pass that on, because it's a nice thing. It's a nice thing to be able to do.
Mm. Are there any projects you've made that you just feel really proud of, or just like if you ever wear it, you just feel magical and a little bit fuzzy inside?
Um, it's strange. Do you know, this may sound a bit silly, but pretty much everything gives me that. Everything that I make kind of gives me that feeling. Because even if it's not the whole thing, something on it that I've done that might have been the first time that I'd done it, I am proud of myself that I've kind of, or even it might even be a fabric choice. It might be my fifth fringe dress, but I might go, oh, I'm so glad that I made it in this fabric, because this fabric's made it really special, or now I can wear it in the winter, or do you know what I mean? It's kind of, so yeah, I have to say, yeah, I think most things. I had my sequin bomber jacket, actually. I
Yeah.
made a sequin bomber jacket for the sewing bee final, so I do a vlog while the sewing bee's on, and it was a bit of a labour of love, because obviously sequins can be tricky beasts, and getting a zipper in and getting the ribbing in, making the bomber jacket. It took a little bit of thinking. And I love wearing that. And I think I love wearing it as well, because when I'm wearing it, I tend to wear it because I'm going somewhere, and people always say, "Oh, wow, that looks cool. You're very sparkly." And I like being sparkly, so it's a good thing. But yeah, I think that's probably my kind of, yeah, fuzzy moment make, I guess. But yeah.
So a few months ago, you did go through the work in progress pile that you had. How is progress on the pile?
Yeah, it was really good. It was really good to go through them. And I know a lot of other vloggers, a lot of them did videos and things, and kind of kind of openly done plans. And I did think about doing that. I did think, oh, maybe kind of getting them out and kind of talking about them might help. And I kind of made the decision not to do that, because I think with my whips, they are, they are kind of part of my processes of things, and the fact that some of them are still there, um is necessary, and I'm not entirely sure that other people would understand why that they are there, because of course, I do the same as everyone else. I can watch someone and go, oh, I remember, I think it was Tamlin, there was one thing that she had that she'd made, and she needed to do one thing on it. It was like something like finish what one strap, or can't even remember. It was a really simple thing, and of course you're going to get people saying, oh, just do it, just finish it. It's like that's simple. But for me, the reason that it is a whip is not necessarily because it's something that's tricky to do, or it's kind of there for a reason. I put it there because my brain isn't ready to do that yet.
Mm.
So I don't know how helpful for me it would be to kind of open it up and then someone say, oh, you only need to sew the buttons on that. I'm like,
Yes, that's
not
true.
in that
You
space
can.
yet. I'm not in button space today. So.
Yeah,
Although I am, but
yeah. Not for that project.
not for that one.
Going off on a very random tangent, we know your career as teacher and space camp, but if there has there ever been a job where you'd really like to give it a go, even if it's for a day? Is there anything else that?
Oh, I don't know. I really love what I do. Um, I don't know whether, like, I kind of want to change what I do. But I've always had a bit of a hankering for being an air stewardess. And I think that goes back to childhood, because I remember once telling, I can't remember, it was someone at school, like a teacher, that I'd quite like to do that job. And they were like, well, you could never do that. You're not tall enough. And that was the end of the conversation. And I was like, oh, okay. And unfortunately, that for me at the time, obviously height restrictions and stuff aren't the same anymore, but they were when I was that age. And I had a lot of things like that. I remember people, that I couldn't do, couldn't be a policewoman because I was too short, couldn't do this because I was too short. And I think it's given me a little bit of a hang up over my height. I don't think I'm particularly short. I'm 5'3". I was fairly average for, I don't see myself as being short. But yeah, I've always, as a kid, I always remember, and I was much shorter as a child. I mean, I know everyone is, but um
Yeah, at that age,
I didn't start grow. Yeah, I didn't kind of finish growing until I was almost 18. So when I was a kind of 13, I was definitely smaller than all of my peers. So I think I remember being smaller than I actually was, if that makes sense.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so no, I think I'd like to be an air hostess just for the
Just
day.
for the
Just
day.
go, yeah, just
Yeah,
go and
yeah.
yeah, I think I'd quite
So,
enjoy that.
and if that plane could land anywhere in the world, where would you like to go exploring?
Well, I love Italy. Italy is probably my favorite place in the world. But actually, if I could just go and explore, oh, I don't know.
Yeah, if you had
Brazil,
a captain on
maybe.
side to take.
Yeah, quite fancy Brazil. Anywhere where people are kind of fun.
And most fun is Brazil.
Oh, yeah, I
Go
feel
to the
like
carnival.
I feel like that might be a fun place to go. I mean,
Yeah,
probably some parts not so fun, but
yeah, you just go at carnival time and
yeah,
enjoy.
yeah. I do like yeah, I like fun people.
And talking of fun people, are there any independent businesses that you want to give a shout out to? That
Yeah, so Always Knitting and Sewing is a little family run haberdashery and fabric shop. It's all online now. It's in Chorley. They have a bricks and mortar place, and they used to open it as a shop, but unfortunately, just cost of living and things, they've had to pare it back and do just online. But they have a little subscription box that they do, which is not for garment making, it is for crafting. And I absolutely love them. They're a family team. It's a mum and two daughters, and it's just lovely. Their fabrics are really, really carefully considered what they have in. They're always really useful with advice. I found them quite early on in my sewing, and there's a lady that works in the office called Donna, and I would quite often ring her up, and talk to a real human being in a shop, which was really lovely, and ask her about interfacing and things like that. What I'm making this project, and they just have such fabulous knowledge. And I think that places like that are just dying out everywhere. And yeah, it's just one of those things that if you kind of don't support them, they'll one day they just won't be there anymore. So yeah, I would say I always, even though I don't do so much crafting anymore, if I am doing a crafting project, I'll always try and support them. And yeah, as I said, they do this little subscription box, which is called the Stitchy box, and it's got all of your fabrics and stuff, more fabric than you need for your project, but then all of the bits and pieces that you would need for a project. And then they do an online video tutorial, and then you can also download like the written instructions and things. And it's just, if you're a beginner, it's just a great place to start because they have all of the knowledge, and then you've got everything in your box. So yeah, that I would say is probably very close to my heart. And if you do sign up, I do some of the tutorials as well, which is, so you get to see my face. And and then of course there's Carolyn Rose, which is where I work. So that's a very small Leamington based sewing school. We're predominantly a sewing school. We do lessons 5 days a week. And then but we do have a very small kind of fabric online and haberdashery. Our website's currently under construction at the moment, so it's but it's something that we just do. literally the team of three, and we do everything. So teaching, serving in the shop, sorting the website. But yeah, but that's, that's good fun. So I would say, yeah, those are really the businesses that I like to support and support me.
You can go and follow Sam on her. And I'm going to have to ask, but what's the shirt that you're wearing? Because I'm guessing by the fabric it might be a me made because it looks like stars.
Ah, no, actually, this was a gift when I finished teaching. It's actually letters. It's got all of the letters of the
Oh,
alphabet on it. And my when I finished teaching, my children bought it for me. And so it's actually not me made at all, but I do love wearing it because, yeah,
yeah, I
it's
thought the
very special.
fabric looked really special.
Yeah.
I presumed it must be a me made, but it's fine. We're going to move on to the quick fire round because we've been chatting for ages. We have to round it up. Are you ready for the quick fire round?
I am ready. I'm going to stop sewing my button on
Yeah,
so I can
concentrate.
concentrate.
Um, woven or knit?
Oh, if I had to decide, probably knit.
Some people have taken the liberty of finding somewhere in between or an alternative answer. So,
I mean, both.
blue or green?
Oh, green.
Plain or patterned?
Patterned.
Cat or dog?
Dog.
Early bird or night owl?
Oh, early bird. Nighttime sleeping.
Knitting or crochet?
Oh, I'm pretty horrendous at both.
Which
I've tried both several times. Knitting, I've probably got the furthest. Uh, but yeah, no, yeah, that's
neither.
not for me.
Know your strengths. Train or aeroplane?
Aeroplane.
Spots or stripes?
Oh, uh, spots.
Tea or coffee?
Tea. That was the easiest one of all.
Perfect finish or life's too short?
Uh, uh, I really want to say life's too short because that is what I believe, and life is too short. But I do think that it is worth, giving everything your absolute best. Doesn't mean that it needs to be perfect, but I do, yeah.
That's
Is
not an
that is
answer,
that
but
is that a cheating answer?
it is. It's the middle. Yeah, you've got round it quite well. Uh, cake or biscuits?
Oh, biscuits. Well, no, actually, can I have both? It kind of depends on the time of the day. If we're talking morning, biscuits. If we're talking afternoon, cake.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, 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 yeah. I think D had tea for one time of the day and coffee for the other. So
Oh, okay, so
you can
yeah,
have
I can I
yeah,
can have
yeah,
both.
yeah. Um, read a book or watch TV.
Mm, again, that kind of depends on time of day. I do like to read, but I tend to as I've got older, I find it quite hard to concentrate later at night. I always used to read before I went to bed. I can't do that anymore. I just find it really, really difficult to concentrate. So I tend to read when I wake up. So yeah, so it's normally the TV in the evening, and then yeah, something that I can have to concentrate on. But I think that's more to do with my eyesight than anything else. Maybe I need to just go to Specsavers.
Well, I try to read before bed, but the problem I have with my eyes is that I read a page and then I'm just
Yeah.
asleep and then read half a page and a quarter of a page.
Doesn't work.
Zips or buttons,
Zips.
even though you're working on buttons. Uh,
Yeah, well, I like putting zips in. I do, yeah. And I think zips, there's just such a fantastic invention, aren't they? They're so clever.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Text message or phone call?
phone call.
Sewing machine or hand sewing?
Oh, sewing machine.
Cream first or jam first?
Jam first. Cream is not butter.
No, it's not, but it adds butter. Anyway, we won't leave on that note. Um, that is the end of the quick fire round. Wonderful answers there, especially with your cake and biscuits. Good hack.
Yeah, I feel like I've done well there.
So it's been lovely chatting to you.
You too.
Today. Did you get your buttons on?
I got two buttons on, so I'm just been securing the third one, that because I thought while I'm here I might as well make sure that they're unlikely to fall off because this coat is well worn.
Good work. Well, it's been lovely chatting, and I'll hopefully see you in another session soon.
Yeah, it'd be lovely to see you.
Cool. Take care.
Bye for now.